Hey, welcome everyone to the Deeper Into the Woods podcast. So excited that you are here with us today. I think today we've got a very special day. I think they're all special, but this one's really special to me because we get to talk about some of like the really key pillars that we have put together for like what the woods is, who we are, and what we represent. Those four things are our culture, our coffee and where we source it from, our roastery, how we roast coffee, and then our bakery. Those four things are kind of what make us unique as a company. So I kind of wanted to talk through those four things and give a little bit of a glimpse into how Woods is so different from our competition and other coffee shops around, just with those four things. And those four things added together make up something really cool. So recently what we did, my art team and I created what we call brand flags for each one of these areas. So I want to show those to everybody. These are hanging in our stores now. It took a little while to get us all up to speed, get these hung in stores, but really this is just a short paragraph that kind of gives a glimpse into each one, and then, we'll kind of give a little bit more insight into it. So starting off with culture, let's just read this out. So every day is a new adventure. Whether you're dreaming about climbing that mountain, taking that road trip with friends, or simply trying to make it through your workday, we are here to fuel your adventure. If you can dream it, you can do it. Smile, you got this. So this is obviously like a guest-facing culture flag, and kind of the premise around that one, I really love it because it's like this adventure culture that essentially that we're just saying, hey, like we know you're doing great things. Speaking to our guests, we know that you're doing great things, and we have kind of come to realize that the people in our stores are all working on something, and so we wanted to put some language around that and say, essentially, we know that you're on this grand adventure in your life, whether it's just showing up for work and having this coffee in your hand is like the thing that's going to get you through it. And we've realized that. And so we've kind of built our whole culture around it, and it's super cool.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about these brand flags too is that obviously if you just talk about culture in general, you would maybe elaborate a lot more, but you've really had to like simplify the wording in a brief message to get the whole point across, which is really cool though, that you've refined the wording and the background of it down to just a quick thing someone can read in our store and get a glimpse of, okay, this is what Woods is about. This is,
Yeah. How
cool.
do you capture, an entire conversation or entire like feeling or like culture into a sentence or two? That's like almost impossible.
Right.
But we try to do our best. But essentially, as we tried to do that, like we just started to realize, like you would see people coming into our shop, sitting down on their laptop or whatever, and they're working on something. Like they're working on either starting a business or they're trying to get their college degree, and they have big dreams. Like they want to be something, and they want to do something great with their life. And there's so many people in our midst, in our shops, that are working towards something, or maybe they're even operating their business from our shops.
Oh yeah, you know it. Yeah.
And so that's just super cool. And as you start to realize that that's happening, you go, man, like that is something that we can get behind and actually encourage people to dream bigger dreams, to do greater things, and hopefully we can be a part of that by supplying them the coffee and the bakery items, breakfast sandwiches, whatever it is, like to keep them going to accomplish their dreams. And that's really where the basis of our culture stands from now is you're on a grand adventure, whoever you are, and you come into Woods and you get the things you need to go out and do that adventure. And hopefully, with us sort of giving you this nourishment and this buzz from caffeine. You can get out there and do what you need to do.
And hopefully also we're giving the encouragement factor too, right? Just of like the environment of how our baristas serve the guests too.
Yeah.
Just, hey, that smile, that, you know, that kind of like high five feeling a little bit when you come
joy.
in, you have a great experience with a barista that just truly wants to make your day and gives you also a great cup of coffee and the food. Just the whole package is spurring you on to do these bigger, better things.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's super unique to us. I don't know if there's like any other coffee companies that are sort of, you know, that. I mean, I know there's a huge like community factor with every coffee shop. Like this is just where community happens in cafes. But we've really tried to make ourselves known for the fact that we just care so much about the people that we serve. And because it's true, like if you just care about people and you care about what they're doing, like everything else just sort of falls into place. And now you have this culture that is sort of thriving because of the sheer care that's going on. Yeah. And so then you mentioned also like more of a guest service side where it's like, we want to make your day just like a little bit better. Like if we could do that, if we can make a guest day like a tiny bit better, then we've succeeded in like a huge way. Right? Because we don't know what the ripple effect of that is.
Yeah.
Like if you're having a bad day, you come in and I can change your day a tiny bit. Now your day has changed. So, you know, every encounter that person has moving forward is going to be better than what it would have been if they didn't have that experience. And so we don't even know what the outcome of that is.
Right, the impact of that can be huge because that person then influences other people around them.
Totally. And so that is the culture we're trying to build, where it's like family community, where we're spurring each other on to do great things. And because we know that people are capable of great things, and if they're just showing a little bit of joy, a little bit of encouragement, and just like the words, like you can do it, like we believe that you can do it, that's huge. And so that's where we're coming from as far as our culture and like the language we're using for that. So the next one up is our coffee. And this is more about coffee sourcing and the farmers that we're getting our coffee from. So this one says, every cup of Woods coffee starts with a relationship that makes a difference. When we source coffee globally, our goal is to discover great coffee to share with you while also providing sustainability for coffee farmers. We are committed to honoring their hard work and positively impacting their communities. Great coffee begins with great relationships. This one's super cool. And this work is mostly done by Shay Hagen, our director of coffee. And we've actually done a whole podcast with him. Go back and search for that one with Shay Hagen, where we actually go into a little bit more detail about all of our coffees and where they're from and the different roasting processes that we go through. But more on the sourcing side, I think one of our biggest goals right now is to make sure that all of our coffees have a traceability to them. And what that means is we know the actual farm that our coffee comes from, rather than just getting it from a co-op or from... in
some situations, some countries, it has to be from a co-op.
Yeah.
But I think that's where Shay really can give a lot of detail. But yeah, the goal would be that he's visited all these countries and either the actual farmer or the co-op, and then knows actually each farm that totally ends up in that co-op, right? Which is really cool. And he's been doing that work now for...
Yeah, and even if we're buying coffee from a co-op, it's still the traceability back to where the coffee came from to get to that co-op. So it goes further than just buying from a co-op. It goes... like we're trying to get to the point where most of our coffees are from a single farmer.
Even the co-op situation would be that we know that those farmers are getting paid fairly for their coffee and all of those other factors. The importers, the exporters, he's really looking at the entire supply chain and making sure that we know where our money's going to, and that we know we're partnered with the right people. Not just simply, just buying the green coffee from anywhere.
Yeah, totally. And that's been a big kind of push that we've had over the last couple of years, is really defining our coffee beyond some of the certifications that you can get, like fair trade, or organic, certified organic, and things like that. Because really, and Shay does a really good job of explaining this, but I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it. Really, like those certifications are awesome, But there's a lot of farmers that could possibly be certified organic or certified fair trade, but they can't afford to get that certification, or they
Right.
haven't been able to actually go through the hoops that they would need to jump through to get that certification. But their coffee is amazing, and they are amazing, and they're doing that same work.
Right.
But they don't have the certification.
Yep.
And so that's why Shay has been going after the relationship with the farmer to find out more about the farms, to actually get down to the human level with a farmer rather than just trusting a certification or whatever, right? And so the well-known terms like fair trade and organic, like obviously those are awesome and we need those. But we're taking a step further, something that's a little bit more of a great beyond that you can't really like put your finger on. But if you're dealing with the relationship, you can't really define it.
Right.
So,
but that's also a big challenge for us
It's
because
super hard, yeah.
we're doing something that not everyone knows about or there's not a label for it, right?
Yeah, it's
there's
hard
not
to
a stamp
explain.
you can put on it, right? And we've actually sort of been chatting about this lately of just like, how do we actually tell our guests how important this area is and the things we do within it.
Yeah.
That we're actually seeking after farmers also that are sharing in the community aspect of what we love to do here in our communities. We're looking for people in other countries doing the same things in their communities.
Yeah.
And so to tell that story is difficult because it's not just, hey, our coffee's fair trade, our coffee's organic. No, we're actually kind of going beyond that and starting this whole relationship coffee is what we call it. But what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for more of our baristas too to understand what we're doing so they can share that with our guests because it's super cool and just all the stories Shay has to tell every time he comes back from a country, just of the time he's spending with these people, learning about what they're doing, and then selecting specific partners for our green coffee buying and how important that whole circle is. It's just really cool. He's actually in Colombia right now. He just left.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have him back on the podcast again and talk about his specific
Share the
trip to
stories.
Colombia and who did he meet? Where did he
Yeah.
find? What are they doing in their cities or around their region? So
Totally.
it'll be really cool to see. But I think that it's important to talk more and more about this aspect of what we do because it isn't just super easy to communicate that. It's a difficult thing to help others understand and our guests understand what we do and why our coffee is special beyond it tastes great,
Yeah, and I love like a specific example of this and how it's sort of hard to define, but there's so much story and like humanity around it. Shay talks about the ASOPEP, which is a co-op, I believe, in Planatus, and he talks about like that co-op of coffee farmers is basically the thing that is sustaining a war-torn region. And so it's really, really important that these farmers are actually able to sell their coffee because
Right.
that is their livelihood. And this entire town is dependent on the coffee selling and the coffee plantations essentially thriving.
Right.
Because when they thrive, they're able to pour into the community.
Yep.
And this co-op has now started school programs and things that are helping the community around it. And so that is like so much deeper than a fair trade certification and so much deeper than a certified organic
Right.
label. It's like
Right.
these are people, these are communities, and these are actual things that you can see and touch with, with your own humanity. And so it's really hard to create one system for that because every situation is different. So that's
Right.
why Shay he goes to Origin, he goes and meets with farmers, and he actually is able to create a relationship with them, and we can best meet their needs and best support their community. And it's going to look different than Planatus in Colombia or in Africa. The needs are different.
Right.
So anyway, so that is like, it's a big thing, and we're trying to narrow it down as much as possible and try and create language around it to actually explain it. And so that's a big thing that we're going to be doing in the coming year. But essentially, I'm excited about what that means about actually making a difference through coffee farmer relationships rather than just, buying a coffee we don't
Right.
know anything about.
Right. And I think Shay said that by the end of 2020, we should be 100% traceable. We
Yeah.
should be sourcing 100% traceable coffee. He's now been to every different region that we buy from. So he's got a few last little things to tie up, find some suppliers, but
Yep.
we're really close to actually having that
Yeah, I think
100%.
he's hung up a little bit on Brazil. Brazil's a tough
Yeah.
nut to crack for a relationship, but he's working on it, and we're dedicated to it.
Yep.
And man, super cool stuff.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So then, along the lines with coffee, this next pillar brand flag is all about our roastery. And this says, whether you enjoy a lightly roasted single origin or thrive on the boldness of a dark roast, our roastery in Bellingham, Washington is dedicated to roasting coffee that awakens the explorer within. It's smooth, rich, and carefully crafted to elevate your adventures to new heights. Where will it take you? This one's cool because it's super just adventure-y, and it gets back to that adventure culture and back to the root of like, you can do great things, and like, and this is the coffee that's going to get you there. You know, it's a little bit more like adventure focused, but really what's in there is this, whether you like light roast, single origin, or you like a bold dark roast, like we're actually roasting coffee that
For everyone.
sort of like, yeah, it spans the whole gambit of flavor profile.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the highlight there, but it also like bringing in more of this adventure culture piece, which is super cool. Mm-hmm. But on our podcast with Shay a few weeks back, we go over all of our coffees, the flavor profiles, and you know what coffees go into each blend and things like that. So that's a good one to listen to if you haven't seen that one. But really, I think that's something that makes us pretty unique. If you think through it, usually you'll have a coffee company that will really tend to lean one way or the other, either like pretty super dark roasted coffees, well, medium to dark, and then you have, you know, diehard single origin, like purist third wave coffee that is going to be, you know, super good. So, and we're trying to sort of have a leg in both worlds, which is a little bit interesting to navigate sometimes. And, but really the cool part is that you can bring your hipster buddy and, you know, have a coffee and then you can drink whatever you have, you know, or vice versa. If you're a hipster buddy and you have a dark roast coffee drinker friend, bring them to Woods.
But I mean, yeah, that's really what we're about, though, is we want everyone to love their coffee in our setting, whether you get a double flavor mocha or you get a pour over, you know. So we really want to be able to serve a great cup of coffee no matter what you like. And there's just kind of everything across the board. So
yeah, some people like, you know, like that just super fine, high quality, you know, single origin, awesome coffee. And then some people like, you know, milkshakes.
And those are awesome too.
Yeah, I like both of those things. So I'm glad I can get both of them at Woods. And then the last brand flag is all about our bakery. This one's one of my favorites because I think this is probably the biggest thing that sets us apart as a company. There's no one else that I know of that's doing what we are doing in this area. So this one says, at our bakery in Linden, Washington, we love to create culinary delights that put a smile on your face. Each item is made from scratch and delivered fresh to our stores every day. Whether sweet or savory, these handcrafted treats are the perfect sidekick to help you conquer your day. We have a feeling today is going to be great. So there you go. A little bit more empowerment language, like basically just saying, we know you're up to great things. This will help you get through the day. But so our bakery, like I want to talk through a little bit about how it came to be that we have our own bakery, like where were we, where we are now, and the reason we even started a bakery, because it's like most coffee shops have baked goods, like they're all.
But the question's always, where do you get your baked goods?
Yeah, where do you get this from? Yeah, we just recently did a presentation at REI to kind of look at doing a coffee shop with REI, some sort of partnership. Who knows if we'll get that or not? But one of their first questions was, where do you guys get your baked goods from?
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, well.
We don't.
We actually make them ourselves. And so it's really cool and it's really unique. But so like, if you take us back to maybe early 2000s, we were buying baked goods from
Yep.
other places.
Multiple places.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sourcing them.
Right. Yep. But we never really were super happy with what we had, right? We always wanted something like more.
Yeah.
And we'd try to get other partners to like partner with us and like create things for us that were unique or special or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever it may be. And it just never really worked out. We kind of had this dream of like, could we do our own bakery? Like, are we capable of, you know, producing food
Yeah.
in that way? It's very different
Which
from
is
just
kind of a
serving
crazy
coffee.
thought.
It is, because it is a whole new world. It's
Yeah.
not just serving coffee in a coffee shop. So yeah, in 2010, I think it was. Yeah, 2010. We finally started our own bakery. And it was a rocky start figuring it all out.
Yeah.
But you know, we've learned along the way. And the cool thing about it is we were able to say, okay, what do we want this to be? We
Right.
have the option to make any food we want, any way we want it.
Yeah.
And we were committed right off the bat to all natural, from scratch. You know, we didn't want to find any pre-done frozen dough to use. We want to do
Right.
everything just super fresh, not use, you know, preservatives or additives or anything like that.
Or
Just
baking
pure,
mixes even.
Yeah, not even baking mixes, pure from scratch every day. And we wanted to bake it fresh every day and deliver to all our stores. So that way
Yeah.
you truly could get a quality product. And so that's kind of where it started. And we've learned and grown and evolved along the way. But we still are committed to the same thing. And we still do it the same way as when we started.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just from scratch every day. We're making everything, delivering it to all the stores, and we're committed to that because it's really different. Like, I know when we even travel and we'll go sometimes and get food other places and we're like, oh, it's not that good. It doesn't taste that good because we're kind of spoiled, really.
Yeah.
Like, we're spoiled with Woods food and how good it is. And we're used to that. And we can feel good at eating it, right? When you eat that stuff, I mean, sugar, maybe not always super great for you, but you eat it and you're like, oh, it tastes so good, but I also know what's in this item, right? I know what ingredients are in this item and I know it was prepared from scratch. It's not,
Yeah.
doesn't have a bunch of stuff you can't pronounce in it. So there's that sort of like put your mind at ease situation. And I feel like it just kind of speaks for itself on how good
Yeah.
it tastes.
Yeah. And so, right now we're sitting sort of above our active, very loud, very clanky bakery right now. Right. So there's so much going on just sort of below us.
Right.
And so they're pumping out like how many thousands of items a day?
I don't know. Right now it's like
Like-
6,000.
Yeah, let's just say 6,000. I mean, that's a ton of baked goods. And so most companies, what they do, you know, they'll mass produce it.
Right.
Maybe use an offsite baking company that we've toured some recently, where, you know, they're making stuff in mass production and then they're freezing it,
Right.
packaging
And everything's
it.
packaged. Yeah.
Yeah, packaging it in plastic and then shipping it
Mm-hmm.
to the locations where they take it out, thaw it, reheat it.
Right.
And just all of those things sort of, each step diminishes the quality of the product further and further. They're not terrible. They're not
Mm-hmm. No.
horrible. Like, it's still, you know, it still tastes okay. But the difference of something like that versus this thing that I'm about to eat was made like less than,
Right.
you know, 10 hours ago, like just a few hours ago, you know, whatever. You can taste the difference and
Yeah.
you can actually, you know where it came from and all this stuff. And, you know, there wasn't like this crazy arduous journey for it to get here, you know?
Totally. And everything's really created by hand. Like, we don't
Yeah.
use any automated equipment. So
Yeah.
that's why, I mean, sometimes stuff gets a little misshapen or a little, you know,
It's inconsistent
a little
'cause
bit-
it's humans.
But yeah, I mean, literally it's 5 different people down there rolling each bear claw, cutting each bear claw toe, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes your hand slips, you know, but the
Cut off a
product
toe.
still tastes great.
Hand slips, cut off a toe. Ah.
So, but you know, yeah, but it's literally, and every bagel is made
Yeah.
by hand.
Oh, I've seen them. They put their fingers in the middle of dough
Yeah,
and go like this.
it's pretty cool. Yep.
Boom, bagel.
Yep, bagel.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But yeah, I mean, just the hard work and the process and everything that goes into each food item is just incredible.
Yeah, it is really unique. And it's a skill, like talk about skill set,
Yeah.
you know, to actually
Yeah.
have people who have learned these skills to create these culinary treats. Like, man, so cool. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But we've got an amazing team that does do it. They wake up super early in the morning and start
early.
baking things.
Yep.
But the whole premise behind it, obviously we've said it, is to just have everything as fresh as humanly possible every single day. And then we have something that we don't have a flag for, but then we have our distribution team.
Yep.
So we warehouse all of our products here, centrally located at our office in Linden. And that kind of gives us the ability to go, okay, fresh product.
Right.
Our own trucks,
Yep.
our own distribution team, and goes, all right, we're taking the fresh products and boom, straight to the store.
Yep.
That is really kind of the crazy secret sauce behind what we're able to do, is like control the quality, and at the same time control the cost of it. Because if we had someone else making super high quality stuff,
Right.
it would be astronomically expensive,
Right.
because we have to pay their margins and blah blah blah
Yep.
down the chain. But we're able to keep the cost as low as possible, but keep the quality as high as possible, and that's super hard to do.
Yep.
But we're dedicated to doing that, and it's been really cool to be able to kind of watch it grow. And so that's the fastest growing segment in our company,
Right.
is our food sales.
Yep.
Because I think people are starting to see the difference. They're starting to kind of go, man, this is good. And once you start to understand where it came from and the care that went into it, it's like, okay.
And the convenience factor. I mean, we
Yeah.
know, right? Everyone loves convenience. So
Yeah.
if you can get something
Fast.
high quality, good food conveniently, then, it's a winner.
Yeah, exactly. And since it's fresh, we don't have to have crazy equipment to reheat.
Right.
Like we have ovens that, reheat stuff, but there's not frozen. So it's just warming. It's not actually like rebaking something. So it's super cool.
Yep.
And something that sets us apart. So that's sort of the premise behind our culture, our coffee, our roastery, and our bakery, and a little bit of sprinkling of our distribution center in there too.
Got to give them a little credit.
Yeah, they got to give them a lot of credit. Those guys are driving in the middle of the night,
Yep.
trying to get stuff fresh to the stores. So there's a lot that goes into it that no one would ever see. But there's so much hard work and dedication to deliver that to a guest. So bring a little bit of light, shine a little light on that. And give credit where it's due, because we have some amazing people on the Woods Coffee team that are making it possible. So that are our sort of brand pillars that have been put on the brand flags, and that are hanging in all of our stores. Hopefully that gives a little bit of sort of a sense of what each of those areas mean, and hope that gives a little bit of value to what we're actually doing as a business, and it's kind of brings it out into the light a little bit, because we're proud of it and we're stoked on it. So cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Would you please subscribe to our podcast? Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you download podcasts. That's huge and beneficial. Also, make sure you are reviewing the podcasts. Give us a 5-star review, and then, hey, share this with your friends. We want this podcast to sort of get out and be something that people learn a lot about what we're doing. So don't be afraid to share it. And also, have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.